Welcome to the Daily HiFi Podcast. Can you hear me?
I can totally hear you.
That's so weird. I'm not
That's a
getting
thumbs
any.
up.
I'm not getting any.
That's a thumbs up.
Do.
I
Yeah.
hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
I hear you. Yeah, man. What's going on?
Oh man, lots going on. Welcome to the welcome whoever is here.
Well, it's only going to be me, you, and then the French Canadian because he doesn't care about what's happening in election.
Wendell, what's up? Josh, Joe, the French Canadian, Tim Perry's in the house. That's right. An election special.
No politic talk here. They're going to be audio and video talk, but
no politics.
It's just not what we do here. So
I went and voted on Saturday.
So you know what I think is interesting in general, right? It's just it seems like people are interested, and I guess that's a good thing. Because I remember for a while like people were just not interested, but now people are interested. So all I can say is that's good. I think that's good. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. People seem interested, and that seems good enough. But anyway, what's going on with you?
Well, as you can see, I'm having dinner because this is the only time I could actually do anything. A whole lot. Let's see. I got these front wides put in. Made a video about that.
Oh, you made a video.
Yeah. You didn't see the video? I'm sure you saw the video.
Hold on a second. I saw a video of you setting it up, but I didn't hear your reaction because.
Oh, I haven't got to that
yet. Can you maybe hint at that? I would like to know about that. Your reaction to that. Not now. In a bit, I want your reaction to that. Okay, what else do you want to talk about? What else should we talk about? Not sure.
I'm going to this projector shootout thing next week.
Why? You hate projectors?
They wanted an honest opinion, so
I hate. My opinion is get a TV. Is that what you're gonna say?
They got those 100-inch ones now.
You're like, hey guys, thank you for inviting me, but everyone should get a TV. Is that what you're gonna say?
Something like that.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, let me know when they have 150-inch TVs.
I plugged the microphone into the wrong thing. That's why I'm not getting any. There we go. That's why I'm not seeing a level. I'm like, what is up with this? Okay.
Oh, okay.
But you heard me the whole time. So clearly, we're talking. Yeah.
Today, I've been meaning to talk about my experience with the HD Fury and getting Dolby Vision on a projector setup that does not support Dolby Vision.
Okay.
So that's one of the things. Like we were going over this stuff last time in the after show, and I was helping out Fred setting up, and the TV guys. Like it's kind of split. Like we have some folks who they have a projector setup, they love it, and then guys are just more like they love their TVs, right? And it's kind of a joke. They're like, we're spending all this time setting it up, and they're like, just buy a TV that has Dolby Vision and have something that's capable of 1,000 nits, and then be set. What are you guys doing all this stuff for? So I thought that was kind of funny, but
I mean, it was pretty messed up. Like the amount of stuff you guys ever doing. I'm like, damn.
It's funny. Bro. It's good. It's good. Sometimes it's just a challenge, Chana. You know what I mean? It's just the challenge is part of the fun.
The funniest thing was like, who did you start off with? You started off with Paul's. And like you didn't get anywhere with Paul.
No. Hours. Well, I'll talk about how Paul was doing an experiment using a $29 device instead of using the HD Fury.
Oh, okay.
And that was an experiment in itself. But the funniest part in the after show, and if you guys are interested in being part of the after show, I think it's part of the funnest part of this whole thing that we do. You can go to what is it? crew.dailyhifi.com. I think that's where you go. And you can join the after show. But I was helping Fred set up his HD Fury, and at the same exact time, Rich was helping Paul do some stuff with his Zadoo and update his Zadoo at the same time. Imagine us trying to like help each other at the same time. It was crazy.
All this crosstalk going on, and I'm just like, okay, I need to do something else. This is,
It was
I
wild,
get the fuck out of here.
but we
Yeah.
had a good time. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
What's up to the folks in the chat?
What up,
We already said what's up. Did we say
Civic in the house?
Yep.
Genius Home Theater. This guy's
Dang, hold on a second. What's up, Genius Home Theater? He looks official. Look at that logo and everything.
yeah, right.
Dang, he looks like he's gonna take over the game right now.
Genius Home Theater. I gotta look at this.
I hope he's a good YouTube reviewer because I'm very picky. Not that I think of you as a competitor. It's more like I'm just critical.
No, this is Ron. You got a logo. This is
it's Ron. Okay, Ron, it's on.
It's on, Ron.
Ron. No, you know what it is?
Oh, there he is. See?
Dang, what a pro. What a pro.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Look at that handsome McGee right there. All right, I see who it is. So he's part of the after show. What is up with all these guys who are in our after show? They end up doing their own channels and then they don't come and hang out with us anymore.
I don't know. But hey, Ron,
big brain energy.
Big brain energy. Ron, do me a favor, bro. Text me your address. I'm gonna send you something for you to review. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He looks serious. Look at he's got the holding up the banana.
Yeah, dude, this is a great thumbnail. Banana plugs.
Hey, Ron, if you start doing the open mouth thumbnails, we're not going to be friends anymore, man.
Oh yeah, you can't do that stuff.
You start doing the open mouth surprised look, man. I don't know.
Nope.
It can't be. Seems look shady. Yeah, no, that's good.
It's good.
That's pro. That looks better than my channel right there. Yeah, it's just like aren't you more critical of other people who are reviewing things if you're just kind of reviewing the same things? It's kind of like if I have a product and somebody else has a product, and then one guy's just not saying the stuff. I'm like, dude, why aren't you mentioning the bad things? I see the bad things. You're only saying all these good things.
I'm sure I said this before. No open mouth shots. I mean, there's so much in that comment right there. Like,
we'll see about that. We'll see how it goes. If he accidentally does one that's like half open and he gets like more clicks, he might just start.
Look shady.
No.
Oh, right. So like, I mean, and this has been my strategy from day one. I already know what I'm going to say in the review. I already have everything ready to go. And I'm like, there's a couple of things. I wonder if anybody else talking about them. And I watched like 3 reviews of that product. I'm like, nope, nobody's talking about it. Guess what happens? That shit is right up front. Boom. And they're like, oh, how do you get so many views? I'm like, because I'm talking about something that nobody else is talking about. This isn't rocket science. It's some pretty easy shit to figure out. I mean, I can do it. Anybody can do it. Essentially. Yeah. Oh, super chat.
What's up? Ole.
Yeah, we got 25 knock. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know.
All right. Oh man, thank you for the super chat. I'm not sure that I can help. Well, I guess you can speak on this more than I could. Well,
actually, I've heard both of them. Yeah.
All right.
Klipsch RF73s versus the Arendal 1720. That's the Arendal you had, right?
That's the one I had. So you've heard them.
Oh my God. 10-inch drivers, dual 10-inch drivers. Those things are massive, A, and B, loud as shit. Oh my God. And so much bass. So much bass. You think these 3/8s would have bass? These 2 10s. Insane. Famous story. I don't know if it's famous, but notorious. My ex-wife was banging some music, and the sliding door is open, and that's facing the other direction. I pull up on the other side of the house. I get out, and I hear Cardi B. I'm like, damn, it sounds loud over here. And so, like, I'm around the house. I go in, and it's just getting louder and louder, and I get up the stairs. I was like, damn, all right. Okay.
Just those, no subs or what?
No sub. No, dude.
Just those, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're loud. They have a lot of bass. We're talking about the Klipsch here.
The Klipsch, yeah. beautiful finish, huge. They're bigger than the 1723s. They weigh the same amount. They weigh like 100 pounds.
Okay.
100 pounds each. But they're, man, like the visual impact on the room is what, like, that was a rough one for me.
Okay.
That was a rough one. Yeah.
So do they look as nice? I'm not saying, I think the Arendals look pretty nice.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the wood finish, the wood veneer on there, gorgeous. It's just like they're just big. It's a big box in my living room. You know, if this was a dedicated space, sure, no problem. I mean, and yours are like black, so they kind of blended. Pardon my aging.
Let me see what the measurements are on those RF73s. That would help.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's measuring them.
You don't think what?
I don't think anybody's measuring them. They're probably too bright.
I've actually done some calibrations. I've done calibrations for people who have those speakers. Clips, RF. Clips. Let me see if they have any. Has anybody measured these? RP 8000s. Nah, nope. I don't see any no clipple measurements, I should just say. There might be some other measurements of them. Yeah, I remember having a tilted up top end. I can't remember what the directivity is on them. All I do know, so the 1723s, I would say can get loud. They can get loud, like their THX what? Something like Ultra. Or,
yeah, Ultra.
So they can definitely get loud. They just don't play super deep. Right? And people were upset at me in the Arendal forum saying, "Oh, what is this guy talking about? He's saying that they don't have a ton of bass." I'm saying they don't have a lot of deep bass. So to me, deep bass is like 40 and below. Right? You know, some people might say 50 and below. Okay. But if you have a pretty big speaker, you want to hear lower than 50, right?
Yeah, mostly a kick drum will kind of live at like 50, 60 hertz, and you know, most music cuts off at 30. Like mixing and mastering engineers will cut it off at 30. So really, if we're getting bass extension down to like 20 hertz, that's really just going to be for all the LFE.
Yeah.
And I know all about it. You know why? Because I locked myself in this room all weekend. Well, not all weekend, but like for the last like 4 or 5 days, listening to front wides and LFE. And I gotta tell you, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like low frequencies. Like
I'm looking at some graphs right now of the RF73. I would say the
show everybody. What do you just
I don't know about the reliability of these graphs though. That's the problem.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? But I can say they're probably going to be a little bit brighter. The clips are going to be a little bit brighter. The Arendals have some brightness to them too. The directivity on the Arendals are very good. So that means that they take very well to EQ. The clips, maybe not as well. I think I remember seeing there was some kind of dip in the response that's kind of unfixable, you know, around the crossover range. I'm going off memory here.
Crossover range, what is that? 2000-ish?
Wherever, I don't know.
Okay.
Probably like 1.5.
Okay.
Around 1.5. I remember there being a dip that was kind of unfixable. You know, a lot of people don't mind the dip in that area, but you know, I think it's better to have a flat response. You know,
does that dip happen when you put your hand on the hip?
Yeah. So the other thing is, if you're going to use this for home theater, it doesn't really matter how deep they go, because you're probably going to use some subs, right? It's only if you're going to use them for 2 channels. So let us know if it's 2 channel or home theater, because if what we're saying, right? John is saying they're huge, right? If they're huge, then why are they so huge? Because you want deep bass.
Yeah.
There's no other reason for them to be so huge.
No,
right?
not at all. And they got that. They got that in spades. Like, you don't have to worry about bass with those things. You know, just like the lower frequency stuff.
Yeah,
Angela's on board. There she goes. When I dip, you dip, we dip.
Yep. So I think they're comparable. I think if you're going to use EQ, I would probably say the Arendelle. For home theater, Arendelle would be my choice. Theater. Yeah, if you just need extra bass, you're not going to use any DSP, then you may like something like the Klipsch.
I
think technically though,
$11.99 on Crutchfield. Oh wait, no, that's not it. RF7.3. Oh, you got to get it from Audio Vice. $21.99 each. Ooh, I bet you Corey can get a better price for you on that though. And what is the Arendelle? 1,800 each. 1,800.
I think around 2,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, if you can find some graphs, I would take a look at the graphs, see what the on-axis response is of both of them. I'm pretty sure that the Klipsch has a dip in the response. If you can find one with directivity index, which I'm not finding at the moment, that will tell you how EQable it is. If it's a straight line, regardless if it's like, it doesn't matter so much the tilt as much as is it a straight line or is it like, doing all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I think the Arendelle is just a safe bet just because I have them and I know that you can EQ them well. But Chana is also saying that he's happy with the bass response of the other one, but huge.
Yeah, like the visual impact in the room is a lot. So and it's funny because I went from those to the Martin Logans, which don't look like speakers, the electrostats, and like just visually that just not having that big ass box in the room made it feel like there was more space in the living room, even though the Martin Logans are taller, right?
Yeah.
But they're kind of see-through at a certain point. So yeah, that's it.
All right. So what would you prefer for home theater though?
To me?
Yeah, because he said it's mostly for home theater.
I guess I'd go with the Arendelles. Go with the Arendelles.
For home theater. Okay. All right.
Like what Rich was saying is go with the Arendelles if they're around the same price.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's a safe bet, is all I can say.
Sure.
Yeah. If for some reason you like the way the Klipsch looks better, then go for the Klipsch,
Go for it.
All right. Any other questions in here? Why don't we talk about your wide situation? What's happening with the wides there?
Who are you calling wide? I'm losing weight.
Oh, well.
All right. So everybody's talking about front wides. What's all the hoopla about? What is all the scuttlebutt, as they say? So I put the front wides in, and I asked our boy Jeremy, because he's Mr. Front Wide over there, talking about all the movies that use 9.1.6. Since that's now the setup is in here 9.1.6, which is great. Finally, I went in and kind of just watched. Okay, so I have two amplifiers, right? One of them powers all the 7.1 speakers, so the 7 ear level, the main ones. And then the other amplifier powers the heights and the front wides. So easy. Turned off one amplifier. Watching something like 300 on 4K disc, yeah, that's very tough. I had to go in and unplug the heights. Damn. That movie's got a lot of front wide use. Holy shit. That's a lot. So it's just the front wides and the LFE are on. That's it. I went back to Lord of the Rings, and I was just, doing emails and doing other stuff. And at some point I would hear something, you would think, but 45 minutes went on and nothing. 45 minutes and nothing. All of a sudden some bass came through the subwoofer. I'm like, oh, front wide's non-existent. Ready Player One. Everybody loves Ready Player One car chase scene. Ready Player One, however, notorious for being a 7.1.2 static bed mix. meaning no heights. And sure enough, no heights at all. No height use at all. Not even accidentally. So I did this. I literally sat around here. I moved some stuff around. I was just kind of getting a little impatient and just waiting for some sound to come through. The front wides. Was very, very blown away just now by Godzilla versus Kong. Holy shit. It's like from the onset, it's almost like 300. From the onset of the film, there's something going on in there. Whether it's a score, whether it's sound effects, or something quickly moving on screen. The Matrix, watched a little bit of that. Almost the whole thing last night. I was here till like 1:30 last night. And I had personal training at 9 a.m. I had to like run home, make sure I got some sleep. Didn't really get much sleep. Free Guy, I love that movie. It had quite a bit. Midway in the all of the air scenes. Ford versus Ferrari had a great scene at the beginning, and then the rest of the movie, nothing.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So you're talking about content right now. Like, what is utilizing the front wides is
right.
The first thing. Now the question is, for those movies that utilize front wides, in conjunction with the rest of the speakers that you have, what is the experience?
It's just it takes it up another level of immersion, right? Because now we're getting like, oh, dude, Hacksaw Ridge. I forgot how violent that movie was. Holy crap, man! And there's nothing in the front wides until you start the battle scenes. Whew. And then it's just, if you thought you were there, oh, you're even more in there. And I swapped out receivers, or I swapped out processors, so I'm using the Marantz AV10.
Mm.
And because I wanted to make sure, I want to have like a on-screen display, right? So I know what signal's coming through, and I can make sure everything's working properly. Because some Netflix shows on my Roku Ultra were not coming in Atmos, but the same movie on Vudu was coming in Atmos, or Fandango now, whatever it's called now. So, is it worth it? I don't know.
Okay, so how about this? Let's just keep it. I'll ask the questions I know people will have, right?
Okay.
If you had to choose between front wides versus top middles, right? So that's the difference between a 7.1.6 with 6 heights, or 9 ear levels and only 4 height speakers.
914.
Yep.
So 13 channels. So who's that? That's going to be, yo, Van Gool, what's up? That's going to be 13 channel, right? Like the Denon X6700H, 6800H. Which one would you rather run?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I
assuming a room that's just like where you could run both. Bless you. Thanks. Assuming a room that you can run both, because some people will not be able to run, one or the other for whatever reason. Things are in the way, things like that. Yeah. But let's say you had the choice to do either one. What are you doing? Just from a sound standpoint.
I think middle heights. I think 716.
Really?
Yeah. From the little bit. I mean, it's only been like 4 days. Right? Because I had to I did a straight up level match with the Spatial Audio Calibration Toolkit. Make sure you pick up the best upgrade for your home theater that's under $100. Go to spatialsky.com and get yours while supplies last.
I have to agree with that one.
Shit, I just dropped it. Good thing the disc is actually in the Xbox, and it works on an Xbox Series X. Fantastic. So I used that. I did level match. I did crossovers, and then I did distances. I just did distance. I didn't do our TikTok thing. I used a laser measure.
So real quick, did you actually watch these movies with the other speakers and the wides, or did you listen mostly with just the wides by themselves?
I did mostly listen to the wides by themselves, but then I just went and turned the one amplifier back on.
Okay.
and then listen to that scene again. When I heard something going on in the front wides, I'm like, oh damn. And then I watched the scene and then it stopped, and then I go back and then turn the rest of the speakers on.
Well, I would imagine that front wides would make it sound wider. Does it make it your soundstage sound wider? Like, what is the effect?
No. I mean, I would think that's just the placement. That's a front wide. No, not wider. The soundstage does not get widened.
Okay.
It's almost like, people say it's like filling in a gap. It's pretty small in here, and I'm looking at them now. It's kind of small in this room, so I don't think there is a huge. I mean, it's kind of a big gap. From front left to surround left, and this front wide just kind of fills it in here. It just doesn't. If there's nothing there or nothing placed there, it doesn't do anything, right? But on these ones like Godzilla and stuff, and the 300 was fantastic, and that's old. That just that's older, right? I know Jeremy or Reverend Slim, whatever you want to call him, he says to check out any like new series or new movie from Netflix, right? Yeah. But they were also redoing the internet here at the office over the weekend. They were migrating to a different system, so I didn't have internet. I only had everything that was on my hard drive. So I'm going to check those things out and wrap that all up into a nice video, put a little bow on it.
So I'm still confused about what it offers. Does it offer more precise placement of sounds?
Yeah, I would say so. And they put other stuff in there too. Like they put the score. They put so like now this, like it's almost as if it's like a multi-use speaker.
Well, it's let's just put it this way. It's not like those sounds would just disappear if you didn't have the wides. They would probably put them in the front, left, and right, or in the surrounds partially.
Correct.
It's going to be somewhere in the mix, right?
Yeah.
So the question is like, why place other speakers that have, the content mixed specifically for those speakers? Like, what do you get? What do you do here?
I mean, I guess if you had a really deep room. How about this? Let's say you had 2 rows of seating and you wanted to use like a bipole for your side surround so that you can place the bipole in between the 2 seats, right? So people in the front row can hear, people in the back row can hear some of that. Then maybe you got like a big old gap from your fronts to your sides. That would kind of just fill it in a little bit better.
Okay, so Tim here is saying same reason we have center speakers to an extent is why you want wides. Do you feel like it anchors the sound a little bit more? If you're not like in the center, right? You're not in the best seat. Would it help kind of anchor things in a way?
I guess it could definitely help in that.
You're not selling me on this. That's all I know. I'm not sold on the wides. Are you
not? I don't think I'm sold either. Thank God it wasn't like an expensive thing for me to do.
But that's what you have to offer, right? Like, isn't that the whole idea? Is like, if you're not overly impressed, you can actually. I'm curious to see what happens if you go into Logic and just start placing stuff there.
Oh no, that is great. That is awesome. I listened to like that Atmos mix I have of Escape, specifically mixed in 916. I put chords in there, literally just chords in the front wide location. And so I just sit up there. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's it. It's just there. And then I turn off all the speakers except the front wides and I'm like, and it's just silence and then dun, the chords in there.
Okay.
Silence, dun. So that sounds great. And then when all the speakers are running, all 916, but I did that on purpose, right?
Okay, so the question is this though. If you were to take that exact same mix, play it on 7 ear levels, it's still going to come from somewhere in between. Are you going to be like, oh man, I really miss having the wides? Or are you just going to be like, nah?
I don't think so. It happens so fast. It's like, I mean, when you were here and we played the Dirac,
Mhm.
Like that actually put the sound pretty close to where it should be, like where the speaker was.
I remember because it did like such a good time alignment and phase alignment, and your speakers are well matched. The tonality is well matched. When it played the sound, we're like, that. It sounds like you have a
We
wide
both
speaker.
just said, "Oh shit!" Yeah, it sounded like there was a front wide speaker there. So I guess it depends. It depends on how well your processor handles a front wide. That's it. That's it. How well does it image that speaker? What's your configuration like? Do you have 10 feet between your front stage and your side surround? That could also be an issue. Because at the end of the day, like, the reason why a center channel works for us is because both ears are pointed forward, right? We have a left and a right, or reverse, whoever's watching this. But then we got the center because we have a left and right ear. But this is all happening on the left side. And so just because there's two speakers trying to create a phantom image doesn't mean it's going to work 100% correctly, because we only have the one ear on this side. Like if I did this, then yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's right there, right? But we're not watching the movie turn.
Yeah. Okay. How about this though?
90 degrees.
What do you think would happen? Because right now you have a rectangular room.
Yeah.
And so you're basing the placement on a rectangular layout. If you had if you set them up in a circular setup where they're all exactly the same distance from you, I guess you do have it set up like that, huh? They're all the same distance. So it's like a circular.
Yeah, pretty much.
So if you looked at the side, like if you looked at the room from the side, would the side surrounds be somewhat further out from you than the wides? Outwards. Like along the wall. Or let's say if the left surround was like completely on the wall, if it's circular, that means that the wide would not be against the wall. It'd be kind of in from the wall slightly.
Yeah. I can do that it's like that on the right side, but on the left side, I'm out of room. So on the left side, it's a little bit more. I mean, it's against the wall, but it's not doing that like arc like you're talking about, right? Whereas the right-hand side, it's doing that a little bit better. But yeah, I don't really see the point in it unless there's something in there. And then with all the new stuff, the way we're doing the vocals on the new Atmos remixes, yeah, the voice comes right out of there. Some of these movies, that monologue from 300 at the beginning, some of his voice kind of like seeps into the front wides, along with the like he's outside, the kid's outside.
Yeah.
When he's talking about windswept pines and the winter cold and all this kind of stuff, we're getting sound effects coming from there. That's cool. Like as long as there's shit that's there, I guess it's worth it. But if there's a whole lot of nothing, only time will tell.
What would happen if you put them in the wrong place? I say wrong place, but like a lot of people put them halfway between the left speaker and the surround. Would it kind of exaggerate the effect, do you think?
Maybe
that's why I like it though.
Pointed right at you, right? It's now like not as discreet as it should be because you're now changing the physical location of the speaker. Somebody commented something pretty ignorant earlier today on my channel, talking about 15 minutes of you showing us that you don't know anything about DSP. I was like, I was gonna respond. And what is you said it the other day? What does the Trinov book say? First, put the speakers in the right place, and then let the room correction do its thing. So you want to put the speaker ahead of where the renderer thinks it's supposed to be, then you may or may not, depending on how sophisticated the room correction or your AV receiver or pre-pro is, it may not represent the sound as the artist intended or whatever you want to call it, due to the physical location of the speaker. So that's it. Okay.
We have some questions related to this.
Okay. Let's go. What do we got
here? Mosin says, I'm adding floor standing as front wides. Is it all right if they don't match my front stage? Should their height be at ear level or positioned higher? He says, will placing them close to the front block my LNR speakers or create issues with proximity?
Oh, there's more.
You know, when he says that they're not the same. Let's see.
Yeah, he says they're not the same.
They don't match my front stage. I think it depends on how much don't they match, right? If they're so extremely different, right? So it's not the same as like, oh, okay, I'm using something from the same line, but I'm using a bookshelf here, and like they might be
so
have the same timbre and the same directivity.
Perfect example, Shane Lee, aka the old spare change, right? I sent him call outs from the spatial audio calibration toolkit. He has a copy. I asked him what he thought about it. I know he doesn't really talk about it, but he's like, it made it blatantly obvious that I need to change out my front wides to something that matches my front stage. Right? Okay. Because once an object is passing through, he said he totally heard the timbre change. Right? Okay. So I guess Moshin, that should answer your question. Yeah, try to get as similar as possible. These aren't the same model, but they're still the same brand, and haven't magic beans them
yet. Yeah, the thing is that I'm about EQing the speakers, and I always talk about how the directivity is extremely important because the directivity will tell you how EQable the speakers are. But also, if you find speakers that are not exactly the same, but the directivity is very similar for both of them, right? Let's say, for example, in Chana, you're using the Monolith T6 Encore T6s, but I think you're using maybe the Audition B5s?
T5 for front wide.
Okay, T5.
And then the Encore T5 for the side surrounds.
Yeah. So they have a different response out of the box. But I can say from experience, because I've reviewed all of those, that the directivity is similar enough that you could EQ them to all sound pretty much the same. Very close.
Probably. Yeah.
Aside from the bass, the mid-range and treble, they're going to sound very similar. So, yeah, I think it depends on how different they are. MW says front wide is a terrible idea unless they are identical to your LCR.
I don't know. You just kind of address that.
I mean, it's also similar enough. I wouldn't say that specific comment because a lot of people will use tower speakers and then a center channel. That's not identical, right? It's similar timbre, hopefully, but it's still not identical. Like not everybody's running towers for left, center, and right. And I think I would say that's even more important than a wide speaker. So
now I got 7 towers in here. Joe's like, yeah, just slap some more towers in here. Might as well. I mean, I would have to get speaker stands, and then with the towers, I still have all the tweeters are at 47 inches all the way around the ear level, even including the front wides and surround backs. So it's an amazing thing when you can create a home theater where all like those kinds of little details help get you this cohesive bubble. It's gotta be a bubble, Dolby Atmos, a bubble, right? Sorry. I hate those comments. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Somebody's making a good point here, and they're talking about, like, does it matter if it's a small room? Because, of course, you can have all the speaker, the angles all set properly, but there is such a thing as comb filtering, right? Like when you play 2 speakers that are playing very similar content, you can have some comb filtering effects. And that might be different if you have a larger room where the same separation leads to the speakers being further apart. So it is something to consider. Of course, Chana's put the wides in there because he's experimenting, right? It's not something that you put there because you felt like you needed to.
I didn't think I needed them at all. You were just here and you're like, yeah, just you should put them in. You got space.
Well, you know, and I think if you're using a 916, you do make you can.
And I had amplifier channels, so it was just like okay. And then that's all.
Yeah, so thanks to Chana. Anybody who benefits from that information, you can thank him because he spent the money and the time and the effort to try to figure it out.
Oh, I had to go get cinder blocks. Yo, did you see my trip to Home Depot? Did you see that part?
Yeah, I liked it. It was a little bit long for me though. I wanted to it was a little long. I wanted to get to the thing. I appreciated the different, the vloggy nature of it, and I got it. But I'm like,
yeah, there was a
how they sound, bro.
That was the action cam, and it had this. I have this like necklacey, like a, so it's just like, but then you could just take it off and put it on things. So I just put it on a bunch of stuff. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I get all kinds of angles in this shit.
When you get a new toy, the first thing you do is you go and start testing it out. I'll see it in the video maybe 1 or 2 times, and then that's it. And then I never see it again. So
hopefully longer.
Says, isn't front wides for soundstage panning, localization, continuation effects, object placement? I think that's what they say.
That's yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean,
the effectiveness is the questionable part, right? Like, do you really need extra speakers there?
Yeah, it's like, do you really need it? I mean, maybe in a full-blown theater. I mean, let's be real. I'm using an AV10. It's a $7,000 processor, right? I have the Act 4. That's $15,000. The Lingdorf is here. That's $15,000. These are all these things run front wides, and these are supposed to be in like a big-ass theater, right? A dedicated space. That's what they're designed to do. And when you get to this level, it's just like, well, do I need that many speakers?
Yeah.
Oh, and I just found out with the Act 4, it's got that Tetra cable. It's got like it's like a RS-232 connection on the back with like four more XLRs. Those are programmable, dude.
Oh yeah.
So they're like assignable, I guess. If you have like multiple rows of seating and you want to just clone your side surrounds because you have 2 sets of side surrounds, boom, use that cable for another 2. You want 8 height channels, meaning you've got 4 rows of seating, and and the middle ones are just going to fire the exact same, right? The front ones are going to be different. The 4 in the middle are going to do the same thing, and then the 2 in the rear, then the helicopter airplane flying through, boom, that'd be you use that. So like, these things open up a huge amount of possibilities for people that need and have this big ass space for such a thing, right? Otherwise, like regular people with a living room, it's not worth it.
Right. So question here, or comment from Brent Wood. He says, Magic Beans, get it? Yes. Yeah, get it. Do you have experience with this? Sometimes I can't tell who bought the Magic Beans because a lot of times they'll be in Discord, but they might have a different name. But if you have it, thanks. I assume that you're saying that because you had a good experience with it, not just saying to support. Although I'll take either one. I don't have any thoughts of the SB or PB17 just because I don't have any experience with it. But I mean, my experience with all SVS subs has always been good. This is just the biggest one, so I expect it to be the baddest one.
Pretty good, yeah. I mean, I couldn't hear anything at the demo. There was too much sound from everywhere else. This was what, Cedia, right? There was way too much sound bleeding in from everywhere else. I'll be at CES again this year, and they might be there. Who knows? Maybe they got something new.
Okay, so Brent Wood, he says he's loving it with his. He loves it. Used it with his MNKs. Now I'm starting to recall. I think I might have talked to you. I think you had some MNKs, and then you had a big old MNK, like an old school sub that they had, like a push pull design.
Yeah, the older ones. I think I saw his post too. Yeah.
And then he also had a less expensive clip sub, and I said that may be the weak spot. You know what I mean? And I think what we ended up finding out with his setup was there's a switch on the back of those for THX. I think some kind of thing where you can adjust it and change the bass extension. And I'm like, just put it to the lowest bass extension possible. Because it was like a big difference. Like one that was like 23 hertz. I don't remember. But there were the 2 switches on the back. Like you could set it to 23 hertz, or you could set the tuning so that it was like, I don't know, like 38. I'm like, that's a huge difference. Yeah. What is he saying here?
Derek says, thanks, Shauna. You're very welcome, Derek. I'll have a full-on video about it. Hopefully this week. Oh, it's Tuesday already? I don't know.
So he said Brent follows and says, "Yep, the old MX350THX. Those are the M and Ks. Your advice made such a difference." So yeah, that's awesome, man. It was fun helping you out. I want to talk about that HD Fury.
Yeah, do it.
I ran out of time last time. It will take a little bit of time, but for anybody who's interested, if you have a projector, you may want something like this HD Fury. You'd probably need something like Zedu or I am testing out the what is this thing called? The Dune HD 8K Max. And so here's the thing. If you have a TV that has Dolby Vision, right, you might not be interested in this whole topic. But if you have a projector, the thing is about projectors is that they are limited in their max nit capability, right? They're not reaching 1,000 nits, right? You're lucky if they reach maybe 300 or something like that. And so you're not getting the maximum brightness out of them. And the problem is a lot of times with HDR content or Dolby Vision content, basically sometimes the highlights are blown out. It depends on whether you have a projector with dynamic tone mapping, right? And usually projectors that are higher end have that. But if you have an Epson, 50-50, something like that, 50-40, I don't remember. I don't have any Epsons. I just have some BenQ HT4550s. I have an ultra short throw from them, and they don't have any dynamic tone mapping, right? And what I found out was when testing the Zedu UHD 8000, that had this mode where you could set a custom EDID, and what that does is it tells the player what your TV is capable of. If your TV is Dolby Vision capable, what can it do? What's the max nit your TV
it doesn't do? You don't have to be true. It just tells it.
So it tells the player what it is capable of, right? What this HD Fury can do. So HD Fury sent me the Arcana 2. I just told them what was going on. They're like, yeah, we'll send you that if you want to test it out. Let people know about it. I said, all right, I'll do that. And so that's what I'm doing. So they sent me this Arcana 2. I plugged it in to my BenQ HT4550, which does not have Dolby Vision support. But the Arcana 2, what it does is it tricks the player into thinking that whatever's connected on the other end is Dolby Vision capable, right? So that's one aspect of it. The other thing is you can set the max nit capability of your projector or TV, right? But you set the max nit capability, and what it does from there is it scales everything down so that it matches, right? The player will automatically do that. It does it using the Zedu does it using something called a Dolby VS10 engine, which I guess that's kind of like a Dolby Vision engine, from my understanding, right? Limited understanding, but I think what is happening is it's actually doing the dynamic tone mapping within the Zedu itself, right? It's using the Dolby Vision engine to tone map things and then output it so that it fits within the range of your projector, right? So if you're watching that scene from Harry Potter where it's super bright, on my projector, it'll kind of just get blown out, right? But because the VS10 engine on the Zedu is handling all that, and then it's spitting out what it thinks is Dolby Vision, it can use that Dolby Vision engine to kind of adjust things. And now I'm getting kind of like a dynamic tone mapping on my projector. And it makes things look a lot better.
Okay. Very cool.
Bottom line is you get all the colors that you would expect from something with Dolby Vision. The colors just pop, and just the dynamic range is maximized. What else can I say about it? The other thing I like is that you can, on the Zedu and on the Dune HD 8K Max, what you can do is you can set it so that everything gets output in Dolby Vision. So SDR content, it'll output it in Dolby Vision. So what that does is, let me back up real quick. If you're playing 1000 nit content, it'll scale it down so it fits within 400 nits that your projector can have. So you'll be able to see the entire range. right? It's just compressed. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's compressed, so it's just not expanded, right? SDR content is 100 nits, right? And what it can do from there is it can expand it. And this is all stuff that I'm learning from Phil Jones at Projector Reviews. He's the expert. I'm kind of just repeating what he has told me. I should probably have him on to kind of explain this better. But he's saying that SDR content's 100 nits, and by using the VS10 Dolby Vision engine, it can expand that out to the max 400 nits. So now stuff that is typically only 100 is brighter, right? And that's pleasing when you're watching a brighter image, right? It's pleasing. I'm not saying it's more accurate, but I've tested it with some of my content where I know how I look, right? I can look at my skin tone. I know how my videos look on my calibrated monitor. And when I look at it from SDR converted to Dolby Vision on my projector, it still looks accurate, right? And so I think that that's pretty cool. It'll also take HDR and HDR plus, and I've tested it using the Spears and Munsell disc.
Yeah. And
it's able to tone map everything properly, right? So all those 10,000 nit stuff, it looks like I can actually see the horses. You know what I mean? In that one scene, I can see the sky and stuff like that. So I like that. So it'll work. You can use an HD Fury. You're gonna need something like the Zedu. The Dune HD 8K Max is the one that I've tried it on. I know some people are saying that there are less expensive Zedus that can do the same thing. You can also do the same thing if you have an Apple TV 4K, because if you've noticed on there, if it detects that your TV or projector can support Dolby Vision, it can output everything into Dolby Vision, right?
Wow.
And it kind of does the same thing. If I were to guess, it seems like they're using the VS10 engine. They just don't call it that. It's Apple, you know? It just works. But yeah, it works that way. One other benefit from that is that when you're switching from SDR content to HDR to Dolby Vision, normally the screen kind of blanks out for a second while it does the HDMI handshake. It's probably not as bad on a TV for you TV guys. You know, the delay when it does that handshake is probably pretty quick. But on some projectors, it can take a while, like annoying if it's
annoying amount.
Yeah. And I'm talking about like when you're watching a YouTube video, it's constantly switching back and forth. Every time you want to watch a new video, it switches.
Yeah, right.
With this setup that I'm telling you guys about, where everything is in Dolby Vision, you never get that, right? You never get that blank, blackout screen unless you have that frame rate where it adjusts to the frame rate. That will always require a handshake. But yeah. That's one of the benefits of using this. I just wanted to tell people about it. The folks at AVS are probably laughing. They're like, this guy's talking about something we've been doing for the longest time. But it's the first time I've tried it. And I feel like, the people who are using, what are those expensive boxes for like projectors that they use? Like
VR, Mad VR.
Mad VR.
I'm on VR friendly.
I use a Mad VR. They'll use a computer, stuff like that. I feel like I'm getting most of the things that I would want from that, right? Other than the scaling things that it does. I'm happy with the setup. It's just this little box. Where is it? This little thing. I'll unplug it for a second. Show you guys. Just this, right? And has a USB in to power it, an HDMI in, and then on the other side, there's HDMI out, right? There's also an eARC out. So if you just want to use it for just for the sound, so you can connect it to like, I don't know, sound bar or something. But then there's also this HDMI copy. So if you wanted to connect another display, you could have it copy that same exact, whatever is coming out from the HDMI out, but you can also downscale that, right? So if your TV or whatever you're using can't handle that same signal, you can downscale it to lower resolution. And people find that handy for like if you have like kind of like those lights, like the Philips Hue lights and stuff like that are controlled by whatever's on the screen. Sometimes they don't like I don't know, 4K 60 or something like that. So it can downscale that so it'll work. Anyway, that's it. That's my little shill piece for the for this $350 Arcane. I think it's around 350, 360. I think it's a pretty good deal considering what you can get out of it, right? Mm-hmm. If you have those devices, you have the Zedu, you have a Dune HD. Actually, you know what? I did try it with that inexpensive one that you sent. That Dune HD Maddox box
4K box
4K, something like that. It's $150. And the thing I like about that is you can force it to always do everything in Dolby Vision. The UI is in Dolby Vision. Just everything is in Dolby Vision if it detects Dolby Vision, right? The Shield, I tried the Shield. The Shield does not allow that. The Shield will only put out SDR for the UI, but if it detects a video that's Dolby Vision, then it'll send Dolby Vision. It doesn't have anything in there to convert it like the VS10 engine. That's it. Anybody have any questions about that? I've been meaning to tell you guys about that for a long time. I think it's a pretty cool device. And I like the fact that you can do everything here on the screen. It shows an on-screen display to let you know what the content is, like what's coming in. You know, if it's showing up as 422, 10-bit, 12-bit, 8-bit, right? And shows you the frame rate, stuff like that, and actually the bit rate of the audio. So all cool things. And for the people in the forums who are using that EasyCoo, that's a $29 device, I don't know how you guys are doing it because you have to load custom firmware in there. It's like very hacky.
Is that the one Paul was trying to use?
He was trying to use that one.
That's right. I did hear you guys say EasyCoo. I'm like, what the heck is that? What does that even mean?
It's a very hacky thing, and I applaud anybody who can get that thing working because it's awesome if you can. But for most people that don't want to mess with that, this thing seems like a pretty easy setup, and I would probably save you a lot of time because Paul, I don't think he's in here today, but he's very technical. So if anybody can figure it out, he could figure it out. But even he was like, dude, I've spent days on this thing. I'm still not sure if it's working. This thing it does what it's supposed to do. What are the comments here? I'm kind of curious to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, read through those. Do you want to tackle this? Since you're talking about projectors, you want to tackle this question about a screen?
You know what? There are other resources that I think could speak on this a little bit better, but the type of screen that you're going to want is going to really depend on the environment. You know, if you just have a perfectly dark room, you could probably just go with a matte white screen. If you expect to turn on the lights once in a while, you might be able to get away with using an ambient light rejecting screen, right? There's different types of ambient light rejecting screens. There's some where it's kind of grayish and then it reflects back at a certain angle, and that's what you get. You kind of have to do a little bit of research on that. And then there's certain screens that are specifically for ultra short throw projectors. You know, so they have Fresnel screens, lenticular screens. I think the main thing you want to think about is your room perfectly dark, or do you need something that's gonna
reject ambient
light? Do you need it to be acoustic transparent so you can put speakers behind it? All right, those are the things to think about. I've always gotten stuff from Elite Screens. They're near me, so I always just call them up and say, hey, I want to test out a screen. So I appreciate that they're willing to help out. The first screen I ever bought was from Silver Ticket. I still have it, and it's still awesome. So those are cheap screens. And then I think Stewart is around here, and they have expensive screens. And I assume that they're just better as far as uniformity. I don't know. I haven't tested those. What else? Let me see other questions here. Mosin says you can use NVIDIA Shield Pro with HD Fury Vroom. The Vroom is their higher end one. I think you can do more customization on there.
I thought he was just saying like Vroom, you're gonna get going. Yeah, that's the model number for something.
The higher end version of this one. And if Tim splits this up, make sure to leave a link for Daily HiFi for our Amazon for this. You can buy it on Amazon. I think it's a little bit more expensive from Amazon than their website, but you get it faster, I assume. And you can return it easily if you have an issue. Yeah, the Room is the more advanced one. Step up from this one and more customization if you really wanted to get crazy. I believe they have a web interface instead of using this like push button thing to go through the menu. What else? What's another one? Electron Ash says he's been looking at getting a Zidoo player so he doesn't have to mess with VLC on a PC and start adding to the movie collection again. Yeah, yeah, I get it. I now understand when you let me borrow that hard drive, how it feels to have a movie collection and you feel like I have it.
It's there.
The internet can go out and I have it. It's here.
And that's exactly what happened to me this weekend. I couldn't use internet. At least I could have run stuff off my phone, but not like stream a 4K movie through tether through the phone. Like that would be pain. And then once they can check this out. So once they got it up and running, later on Sunday, I went on to Netflix to try and check out some shows, for this 916 thing. And it was like buffering and it's like 11%, 12%, 13%.
Oh no.
It's because it was capped at 50 down and 50 up. Now it's at the full like 320 up and down. But like it was just like snail's pace, bro. I'm like, oh gosh, I can't even watch anything. I'm like, this sucks. So I went back to
the cool thing about having that hard drive though, right? When you press play, the thing just plays. It just plays and you fast forward, it just fast forwards it, I think it's hard to explain how it's just satisfying to have very little delay. You play it, it plays immediately. You fast forward, it just goes like.
Yeah, because it's there. It's right there. It's not going anywhere. It's there. How loud was it during quiet scenes? Could you hear it going like reading?
No.
Oh, okay. That's good because I hear the Revolution player reading. Like I walked in here this morning and I'm like, oh shit, did I just turn off everything and leave the movie playing? Because it'll just go down the list and continually play all the movies. And so overnight it was playing. I like turned everything on and yep, sure enough, it's a movie I didn't start. Playing.
I don't know if they've changed like how damped it is, like where the hard drive sits, and if they're they're kind of like isolating it a bit more. I wasn't able to hear it, but I'm also further away from it than you are to your.
Oh yeah. You guys are in the living room. Yeah, that was in the living room. You had to set it up.
I had it in the living room and in the theater, so around 10 feet away.
10 feet, yeah, probably
something like that. I'm sure if I went up to it, I'd be able to hear it. Yeah, I thought it was cool. I appreciate it now. I understand the appeal. When you say it's faster than a Blu-ray player, right?
What's that?
It's faster than a Blu-ray player when you fast forward, like when you skip.
Yeah. Jim, oh man, I'm gonna plummet down the rabbit hole on ripping all my 4K discs this Xmas. Dude, that shit's depending on how many you have, it's gonna take a while, bro. And luckily for me, I had my PC tower was just for these live streams and like some video capture. So it was doing nothing. So, and I put a movie on there to rip and I come back in like an hour and a half, or 2 hours. Oh, it's done. Here's the next one, and then just have a few of those. And then finally, what do you call it? Shoot them off over to the hard drive via the network. And that would take X amount of time, but I didn't care because I wasn't doing anything with that computer. So I'm lucky in that aspect. I had a free computer to do that kind of nonsense. Not a lot of people have that.
Let's see here. Let me try to.
Oh, look at Genius Zoom Theater says I have a NOS upstairs. I wouldn't be able to watch a movie with that thing in the same room. I guess it's super loud.
Right? Yeah, I think certain hard drives are louder than others too.
Yeah.
Oh
yes, definitely.
Yeah, is louder.
I had the Iron Wolf ones that are in all the stuff up in Mammoth, and dude, those things were loud. I could hear that 14 feet away, accessing the disc.
How many terabytes did you have set up there?
80. That a lot? Is that not enough?
I don't know.
I don't
Probably
know.
not compared to Paul. Probably he's probably laughing at that
Paul,
quantity. It sounds like a lot to
he's
me.
like 80, amateur. He's like, you amateur
It
techno
sounds like
dad.
you
Why
got
are
a
you
little.
calling you techno dad? Talk about
You got a,
non-techno dad.
I think Paul has like a server farm over there.
Yeah, probably.
He has like a refrigerated room or something. I don't know.
Jim's like hundreds of discs. LOL. It's all based on your vids. Shauna, you saved me on this or condemn me. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know either. But you know what's funny, Joe? I bet you anything so which folder did you go into?
I went into all of them to check them out.
Oh, did you?
Movies,
So
there's the
did you
4K
add?
one, there's the ISO one, there's the
movies 4K and the movies 1080p. Did you go into the 1080p one?
Yeah.
Because there's a ton more.
Yeah,
There's a lot more.
You know, on the Zadu, you can tell it to index,
Multiple,
either the entire drive or specific. Well, I just said index the whole thing. Show me everything in one spot. So I was able to just see the entire collection.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
And then when you go into one, it'll tell you if it's a 1080p or 4K one. Fred said go into the XXX folder. Yeah, it was the movie Triple X.
Yeah,
with Vin Diesel. MW says, I think the HD Fury does a little tone mapping as well. I don't think so. I don't think this does any tone mapping. I think it just gives the instructions to allow the LLDV in the player-led Dolby Vision, right? I don't think the HD Furies do anything as far as tone mapping. That's all in the Zadu that I was testing out, the UHD 8000 with a VS10 engine. I think the VS10 engine is what does it. Right? Are you talking?
Huh?
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking. What else? I want to answer the rest of these.
We got some star. Do you think Kaleidoscape will ever take over 4K Blu-ray? No, dude, not on your life.
Not until everybody's extremely rich, or if they were able to drop the price.
Yeah. I mean, they did drop the price.
Even then, it's not going to.
They dropped the price quite a bit. Let's hold on. Let's get in closer. Let me use that boyfriend voice. Yeah. They dropped the price a little bit, but it's still damn expensive, man. What the fuck? For what? 1 terabyte? $3,000 for 1 terabyte?
Electron asked that he did the LLDV thing on the Epson 5040 equivalent ? I thought that was a statement. He did it by patching the EDID on the DIY AVR that he made. This guy's crazy. He made his own AVR. So the thing is that I think that you have to. It's more to it than just like tricking your thing into thinking it's Dolby Vision. You also have to be able to set the max nit level. You also have to be able to tell it that's an HDR signal. So in my case, my BenQ will not switch to HDR automatically, or it won't switch to it manually. It has to detect the signal that says it's HDR. And if you're sending it a Dolby Vision or SDR content, it will never switch automatically to HDR. So that's where this comes in. It says, hey, this thing, we're sending you HDR, right? On the Epsons, you can manually set HDR. So I'm not sure if it's exactly the same. All I know is that I think this takes out some of the guesswork. I'm sure people could figure out how to do it without using this. I just feel like it's helpful for taking out the guesswork. I don't know. What else? He asked, can you use a 3D LUT table to HD Fury?
Why would you want to do that?
Because a lot of times, like, you have to set a new like gamma curve. You know what I mean? No, there's basically you kind of just want the VS10 engine to do all that by setting the proper nit level, and that I think it's all done there. You may have to make adjustments on your Epson But yeah, I think it should only be stuff like contrast. I don't know. I can't really speak on the Epson. I've tested it on the BenQ. Paul has tested a bit on the Epson, but with the other device, it's not this one, the EasyCoo. What else? I'm convinced even my cheapo Panasonic UHD player even does the tone mapping. You know, I've what's his name? Stop the FOMO. He let me borrow his Panasonic. What is it? 820. What is that called?
UB820.
And UB820, and it has the settings for setting the nit levels, things like that. It didn't work as well as the like the HDR setting, the static tone mapping on my BenQ.
Really?
That made it look better than, because I was testing the BenQ that has that HDR tone mapping, but like static, versus a Hisense, what was it, L9G ultra short throw, and that didn't seem to have anything. Like when it put like the 10,000 or 4,000 nit content, it was just like all crazy, like super blown out. And so he let me borrow that thing, and it brought everything down so I could at least see stuff, but it wasn't as good as what the BenQ did. Anyway, Joe is blurry, Chana is razor sharp. Yeah, I'm messing with my Wi-Fi stuff again because of you guys.
I got 300 up and down, baby.
Yeah, I'm messing with Mocha wire. The Wi-Fi is probably all over.
Your mesh thing.
Yeah, I'm messing with Wi-Fi. Like right before the show, I was messing with Wi-Fi stuff. So, What else? Dang, I'm behind on the comments. What's the starred one that you see up there?
A rack question. Any thoughts on a rack that'll keep the dust out? I don't know.
I don't know. But you have a rack, don't you? I don't think it keeps the dust out.
That does not keep the dust out.
Much louder. This guy's saying that the Exos drives are louder than the Iron Wolf. Is there like a quiet drive that people know about? Like, is there a quiet drive?
I think Western Digital has quiet drives. That's what people say. I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
Just trying to see. I think that's it. I'm not seeing any other ones. See, Paul has the new UHD 8000. You haven't responded to me. I asked in our after show chat how you're liking it. I guess hopefully in the after show you'll let us know. Kind of curious what you think. Anything else? I want to get to the after show to talk to these guys. That's what I want to do. Xena.
Okay, let's do it. I don't think there's a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm not seeing.
Joe is Netflix. Chana is Escape. What?
Oh, they're saying my video quality is pretty bad.
Oh,
okay. I'll get that all fixed up. I'm going to try to hardwire everything, so that should all be resolved.
That's what I actually right now I'm on Wi-Fi, so because I'm not hardwired right now. But that was kind of I felt like I was some sort of IT guy. I had to add the MAC address of every device in this room that's using internet to do the switch properly. I was like, oh
yeah, I have.
But I found them all. Like the one on the HiFi Rose, the one on the Wise camera, and the Xbox was easy enough. The Revolution. Oh,
Jim doesn't know about the after show.
Jim, are you not part? Yeah, bro. After show, bro. Man, you got to go to crew.dailyhifi.com and you got to sign up. What is it? $10? Something like that. $10 a month, and you have access to the after show, which means you get to hang out with me and Joe and Aaron. Well, if he's here, and then whoever our guests are, they usually pop in the after show for a little bit, ask more questions. So the after show is where it's at. And then, of course, you can get into this. You can get mad at all the HD Fury talk that was happening the other week.
Oh yeah.
Or you can just leave. Don't forget to go to shop.dailyhifi.com, pick up yourself some merch. And if you want to listen to the podcast and not watch me eat, because I ate a little bit on the stream today.
Oh, rude.
I'm rude as fuck. Anchor.fm/Daily HiFi for that. And if you are here watching on the replay, make sure you're here Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, and ask your questions and be part of the fun. Again, if you want to join the crew, go to crew.dailyhifi.com to jump into the after show. And of course, there is also the Facebook chat group, so we can communicate with each other. You can ask questions and you can shoot the shit and do all that kind of stuff and make fun of the fact that Fred does nothing but talk in the after show. And oh yeah, I was making fun of Aaron today too. We make fun of each other. It's almost like a locker room. I gotta say.
Yeah.
On behalf of myself, Mr. Joe and Tell, and Mr. Absentee Voter, Aaron, we'll see you guys next time.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.